long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
So Collider reported that Jon Favreau was able to secure a $21 million tax credit for Mandalorian and Grogu, and the budget for the show is $166 million, which is very much a far cry from the overly expensive films that Kathleen Kennedy produced. That broke the budget wildly from the fact that, A, he was able to do it in California. That's where the tax credit came from. And he's, I think, proving he can work under a budget. So we'll see where exactly all this goes. We know it's going to somehow touch the Skywalker saga, which would be great. Here's some more of the news from Collider. It's very interesting to me. I think basically Disney said, we're giving you $166. We're giving you, I would say $186 million. Favreau got the tax credit and the budget went down to $166 million. And if he can do it without reshoots and everything, that'd be great. My opinion is if they have to add other shots to this story, it'll be this summer. Again, with the Gina Carano thing going on and knowing that he wants her back, we'll have to see where this goes, but still, this is a pretty cool thing. It is a far cry from the way that Kathleen Kennedy ran Lucasfilm and blew the budget constantly, but we'll talk about that. I think this points to a very tight script and a very, I think, traditionally made movie. And again, if they can avoid reshoots, that's great. Let's talk more.
Roger, at Cornell University, they have an incredible piece of scientific equipment known as the tunneling electron microscope. Now, this microscope is so powerful that by firing electrons, you can actually see images of the atom, the infinitesimally minute building block of our universe. Roger, if I were using that microscope right now, I still wouldn't be able to locate my interest in your problem.
So, what's going on here? Well, I'm going to blame Bob Iger for part of this. Again, like I said a couple of days ago in my last upload, he was so impressed with how well The Force Awakens did that he decided to let Kennedy off the leash. She proved to be incompetent. Her ideas on budgeting were non-existent. And she was the queen of reshoots because she couldn't decide what she wanted and had no idea about the franchises she was working on, including Indiana Jones, okay, which is a franchise she actually did work on. Okay, I would think working with George Lucas for a year or two as his co-president would have given her some idea on what makes Star Wars work, but apparently it did not. This is the difference between Favreau, who hopefully there won't be any reshoots going on, and Kennedy, all right? He knows what he's doing. And history has proven that Kennedy does not when it comes to money for films, budgeting, and then of course, look at the horse assery going on with the Acolyte and then how expensive Andor became. Okay? They don't have to be that expensive. They don't, to be beautifully shot, but let's talk more.
Dad, when are you going to stop blighting the environment with this atrocity? My God, can't you see that it wants to die? Let it go.
The glue to all 5 of these films that gave us all of our rhythm and all of our melody, the great maestro, John Williams.
So, why is the budget different for Mando and Grogu? Because Kathleen Kennedy, under her purview at Lucasfilm, made 5 movies that actually did not make any money. And in fact, 2 of them, if not more, lost money outright. And what movies were they? They were The Force Awakens, which had reshoots, which had problems that, according to writer, according to G.W. Rinsler, had so many problems, and he did have notes on it. Disney would not let him even put a blog up about it. We've got The Last Jedi, which I didn't realize was over budget because they had reshoots. And of course, The Rise of Palpatine in the middle here was $400 million. All right. These budgets, they're hard to nail down. But if you look, you can find estimated budgets. They are outrageous. Okay. Then, of course, we've got Solo, a Soy War story, which she had to fire the directors after seeing the dailies, which are awful. This is after 80% done. And poor Ron Howard had to be dragged in to refilm and reshoot everything. And I am absolutely appalled with the fact that she's lazy. How could you run a studio like Lucasfilm and not be double checking what the dailies look like? I thought she did that stuff. I guess apparently that was just the mythology. Then, of course, we've got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The first 20 minutes were fine. The rest of the movie was girl power, which I was like, no, this is the Phoebe Waller-Bridge "Fuck You Men" movie, and it lost as much money as Solo, if not more. Combined, those 2 movies probably lost almost $500 million for Disney. Who's the big loser here? Not just the fans, the Walt Disney Company. They did not buy Lucasfilm for this to happen. Okay, then of course we got the shenanigans and the fempower bullying and basically upstaging John and Dave at Star Wars Celebration with the Trashalite and the funny money going to it, etc. Then we've got the fake Rey movie, which is never happening. In fact, Awful Aaron Yuck and Daisy Ridley are making a comedy together, a romantic comedy, which kind of figures. I'm not going to say it. I don't like either of them. So, Kathleen Kennedy could not be trusted with a company bank card. If she worked for the federal government, she would have been fired, and her federal credit card would have been canceled by Doge, period. That's how insane it got, with Kennedy feeling like the money was infinite and she could spend as much as she wanted for reshoots and everything. This is what happens when you are not a creative person to begin with. This is what happens when you're so lazy you don't watch dailies. This is what happens when you don't understand casting. Alden Ehrenreich. This is what happens when you put politics, your personal politics, ahead of the story. Her budgets were out of control, and it was her fault. And now Jon Favreau has to prove he can make a great Star Wars movie for $166 million plus a tax credit of $21 million from the state of California. I want you guys to understand that this is really a big deal for Lucasfilm that this movie be successful. Okay, so ignore Gary Nerdrotic, ignore that prick, ignore Ryan Cannell, ignore all of them. Go see this movie when it comes out. Period. Reason why I say that is because it's got nothing to do with Kathleen Kennedy. Even if her name's on there as an executive producer. Even if she's trying to take ownership of it. Okay, it has nothing to do with her. That is her giant, global-sized ego. I am woman, hear me screech. Screaming for attention. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this is what's going on as far as I can tell. This is a comparison to what Jon Favreau's doing with a smaller budget, a tighter budget, which I expect we're going to get sort of a tighter written, better written, tighter script, better story than anything Kathy put together. It was like she gave the Skywalker saga to some pointillist drop painter or modern artist and said slap paint on it. Okay? None of them made any sense. The Skywalker saga, the sequel trilogy, is incoherent shit. Okay? And the people who like it are poorly educated boobs. Okay? So, we're going to get, I think, something that reminds us a little bit of how movies should be written. Like they were back in the past. Okay? This is Steph, signing out. See you around the galaxy.